Hello, everybody, and welcome to a little. This is going to be basically a tutorial video to give you a basic overview of how Crusader Kings 3 works and how basically to play it. Firstly, I am recording this on August the 15th, 2026. I have purchased all the DLCs, but they are currently all disabled because I want this to be a basic I just bought CK3 and want to play it sort of thing. But one thing to understand about the way Paradox works: when they release an expansion, the expansion comes with a patch. The patch includes some of the features of the DLC that are just now part of the base game. But there are also features that are only there if you have the DLC turned on. So the game, even if you buy no DLC, still grows in complexity over time. So just be aware that's the way Paradox does things. Now, this is the starting screen where you create your game. You have 3 starting eras. You can start in 867, in 1066, or 1178. I typically start in 867, but you can start in any of them, because remember, an important thing to remember is the purpose is not to conquer the world. This is not one of those Empire games where you just grow until you control the entire map. One, that would be very difficult to do because the map is huge, and the bigger your realm is, the more fragile it is. And secondly, this is a big world strategy game. But at its core, this is more of an RPG than it is a strategy game. I will explain as we go in. But basically, when you click on this screen, it gives you some ideas on who you want to play as. Like, you have Darama Dora down in Africa. There's this guy, I have no idea how to pronounce that, but that looks like that's over in Ukraine, Romania, Moldova area. You have Rurikid, the Duke of Novgorod, up here in what would become Russia. The Count of Anjou, and Jarl Heistein. But you'll notice there's others over here, which give you even more stuff. And they give you an idea of, this is a difficult start, this one's easy, etc., etc., etc. The struggle for Iberia, it has a few special rules around it, trying to conquer Spain. Got a bunch of different Viking starts. I guess this is the one they recommend. Yeah, they recommend you start with one of these. There's also the Carolingians, where you can start as one of the Carlings, the descendants of Charlemagne. But what we're going to do is we're going to play as any ruler, starting in the 867 start. I like to start in 867 just personally, but I think for this we're going to start in 867 because it gives you the most to look at. And here we have the entire world map. And this is not a different screen. This is the world map. You just zoom in and out. And in this screen, you can basically click on any county in the entire world and say, I want to play as the guy in charge of that. So, like, let's just say we wanted to play whoever is in charge of Samar. And there's Chieftain Vakrim of Samar. He's 23. He is temperate, he is just, and he is zealous. And I will go over what this means eventually. He is of the Tengri faith, and he is a Bulgar. That is his culture. It is a tribal realm, and this is a chiefdom, which is the lowest rank. This is a county. A county. I say the lower, there's actually a rank below that, but you can't play as barons. So, and of course, if you wanted, you could say, I want to play as the Kagan of Khazaria. So in this case, you're playing as an emperor as opposed to a count. Of course, he is 29. He is stubborn. He is zealous. He is patient. He is a Khazarite, Khazar, still tribal, but this is an imperial title. Now, to explain, there are counties. Let's come over here to East Francia. Well, no, actually, let's find an empire. Well, we already found Khazaria, so that's an empire. He is the emperor of Khazaria. But inside Khazaria, there are others, like this. This is Chuvashia. He is a vassal of the emperor. And this is probably a, well, I guess it's just this is a duchy. This is a duke level title. And this is a count level title. So we have chieftain, we have high chieftain. There don't seem to be any kingdoms in here. Let's take a look back up here. Let's take a look at this. Can't look. We actually can't look at the his other titles apparently. But still, you have counties, you have duchies, you have kingdoms, and you have empires. And basically, your character will have his or her primary title. And in this case, this guy is the emperor. He probably holds a kingdom or two in here as well. Possibly some duchies. And almost certainly some counties. But he also has all of his vassals. And like we look over here, we have the Duchy of Brittany. Actually, this is a kingdom. Yeah, this is a kingdom. And we have the one Viking guy who has seized Leon there at the tip of Brittany. Of course, you have all the Viking states. I guess Byzantium is the other empire that's on the map at this point. Khazaria, the Byzantines, the Abbasid, yeah, they're also an empire. The Tang is probably an empire. The last time that I played CK3, the map ended over here. There was no China. Japan is also an empire. The big Khanate up there, another empire. But basically, like, we'll get into it. Let's pick somebody to start as. So let's give me a random character. Let's not start over in the east. Let's just hit random until we get somebody over in regular Europe. Mostly because I'm not entirely sure what rules are different for the societies in the east. But you kind of see exactly how many choices you have. There we go. We have a count in East Francia or West Francia. Not very good, though. He is a glutton, he is a craven, and he is forgiving. He's 33. He does not have an heir. He may or may not be married. And he is the liege, or he is the vassal of King Charles II, the Bald of West Francia. This guy's probably not going to be very good and may not survive very long. Let's see. How about something in East Francia? How about the Count of Zurich? That ought to work. That ought to work. He is wrathful, brave, and lustful. He's also probably not very good, but he has a player heir, which means he has... Oh, that is his brother, it looks like. His older brother, which is interesting. But what we will play as this guy. He is the heir, or not the heir, but he's a vassal of King Ludwig II of East Francia. And this guy is an irrational opportunist, which, since we are playing him, that doesn't really matter. That kind of gives you an idea of how the computer is going to play him. Okay, so we have difficulty. Let's leave it on normal. We have game rules. In this case, you'll probably leave these as they are. I'm going to enable Iron Man for this, just because I like playing with Iron Man on. That just means there's one save file. So, every time the game auto-saves, you can't go back, basically. Can't remember. You can get achievements with Iron Man disabled. It used to be you had to have Iron Man enabled to get achievements. Like every difficulty... Like you can actually change how the genders are treated. I keep it at default. The game ends in 1453. You can remove the end date if you want. Actual historical characters can spawn. We'll keep that. Bad luck. That could happen. That can happen to anyone. That one there is something I've never actually turned on before. I probably should have. That should actually probably always be on. Okay, this is how often conquerors spawn. And conquerors is a system I'm not really familiar with. That must have been added in a DLC I haven't played yet. But as we can see here, what it says, a conqueror wants to expand their realm through war at any cost. They will invest all their gold into war chests or to buy men-at-arms. They tend to declare many more wars than normal and are rather untrustworthy allies. They forsake most frivolous pleasures in life, such as hosting or going to activities and sponsoring inspirations, to save gold for crushing their enemies. They will only use activities to gain enough prestige or piety to go to war. Any non-cautious ruler has the potential to become a conqueror, but normally there are no more than a handful of rulers worldwide with this archetype. And I'm just going to leave the conqueror trait with perks, as you can see. Those are the perks for being a conqueror. Don't worry, I'll explain this sort of stuff. Apparently, Conqueror can be inherited. The Black Death will occur, historically, accurately, apparently. How often can it occur? It can only occur once. There are other plagues that can occur, minor diseases. Elderly characters will get traits like clouded eyes, faltering heart, withering mind, fragile bones, and infirm. We leave that on default. Can characters spawn with same-sex relations? Yes, they can. Same-sex marriage is not available in most cases. Hetero being the most common. I did not know that adoption was a thing. That must have been added at some point. Matrilineal marriages are a thing that you can do. This here is just to cut down on the number of characters around, so the game doesn't get too laggy. Alright, multiplayer. We're not playing multiplayer, so we don't care. Legends spread at normal pace. You can actually have legends written and spread. That's where these come from. Never noticed this. The unholy Roman. No, they will of course be the Byzantine Empire. Realm stability is set to default. Hybrid culture frequency will be default. Divergent cultures. These are things I will explain. If I remember. Heresies, Mongol invasion. How often will random nicknames pop up? Causes belly costs. That is important. We leave that at default. That is how much it costs to go to war, basically. And there is a lot of stuff here, as we can see. We're just going to leave it as it is. And we will start with this guy. And it wants to know what do you want to name this save. We'll save it that. We'll call it that. Alright, game starts off paused. So let's take a look at our dude here. He is unmarried. His grandfather was a duke. His father was apparently unlanded. He apparently did not inherit any of those traits, although he does have a claim on the Duchy of Verona, the County of Grisons, the County of Padua, and the County of Polesine. These are things that allow him to declare wars to try to claim these because he has claim to them. Now, he had an older brother who died at 47. He died of unknown causes 10 years ago at the age of 47. So he was much older. And then we have another older brother who is our current heir, my half-brother, and my chancellor. Being our chancellor is important. And he is a lackey, which means he'll probably do what we want him to do. He is asexual, he is a member of our dynasty, and he is our player heir. And our subjects, we apparently have a city in our territory. And I should specify, let's zoom in. The county that we control, Zurich, has 4 baronies in it. We have the castle holding, and that's where lords are. So that's where we are. We have this castle holding. Then we have a city, and a city will have a mayor. Mayors are typically elected figures. So, like this guy, we don't really have to worry about his children causing us trouble. He might cause us trouble, because you see he is labeled as a powerful vassal. He is also our steward and one of our knights. Then we have a plot that has nothing in it. And then we have a church holding that is controlled by our bishop. And we are Catholic. And in Catholic faiths, the bishop controls the church domain. We get basically nothing from it. But we might get some taxes from it, where we don't get most of the taxes. But we also can't tell it what to build, I don't think. Although maybe we can. You didn't used to be able to tell the church holdings to do anything. They might have changed that. But if you wanted to rename things, you could do that. You could pin it. Like if you pin it, it will add it to the outliner over here. We don't really care. It doesn't need to be pinned. Okay, but let's go back to our guy here. Okay, so he is 35. He is feeling fine. That means he's in okay health. He's probably not going to drop dead anytime soon. He is a member of our dynasty. He is the head of our dynasty. Usually, your player character will end up being the head of the dynasty. It does not have to be this case. Like, if I had said that I wanted to play as this guy instead, I could have, and my brother would be the head of the dynasty. But anyway. Okay, so he is wrathful. Wrathful gives us a negative to diplomacy, a plus to martial, a negative to intrigue, a bonus to dread, and courtly vassals dislike us, glory hound vassals like us, and parochial vassals dislikes us, and it unlocks the punish criminal interaction. Brave gives us a martial bonus, a prowess bonus. I will explain what these things mean in a minute. It makes us more attractive. Glory hounds like us. It increases our chance of dying in battle. Other brave characters like us more, and craven characters dislike us. Lustful increases our intrigue, increases our fertility, grants us, or it cuts down the length of a seduce phase length. Other lustful characters like us, chaste characters dislike us, and being lustful is considered sinful to Catholics. So Catholics dislike us, and we have a reduced piety generation. And zealots like us even less. And this is our education perk. We are a mastermind philosopher, which is pretty good. That increases our learning by 8, increases our domain limit by 2, and our experience increased by 40%. Okay? What's this? Nothing. I guess if you ever had enough that this was going off the screen, you could switch to display that. Okay. So now to actually talk about our stats. Diplomacy increases the amount of prestige we generate. If we had a bonus, we actually have a low diplomacy, so we're actually losing prestige because of this. Also, it's low enough that people dislike us. And it increases the effectiveness of diplomacy schemes and increases our initial legitimacy. That means when we take the throne, how much do people question our position as the leader? So higher diplomacy reduces the amount that they distrust us. Martial increases or adjusts the price of armies, the number of knights we can handle, how tough our army is, how many levies we can have, and how quickly they reinforce. I'm not sure what travels. Okay, travel safety. I have not played the game in quite some time, they have added a system where you as the leader actually travel to events. Like, say the king is holding a tournament up in wherever he is. Baden. He throws a tournament up here in Baden. I will have to physically travel to Baden to go to the tournament. So having High Marshal increases my safety while I travel. It also increases the advantage of my armies when I am commanding them. That will be important. Stewardship. This increases the monthly barter goods, increases the taxes we get, increases the income, and increases our travel speed. You'll notice a lot of negatives here because this guy has pretty bad stats all around. Intrigue. This is how you handle your underhanded schemes, basically. Scheme secrecy, enemy scheme secrecy. It reduces their chance of... Scheme secrecy increases the chance that our schemes will not be discovered. Enemy schemes secrecy reduces increases the chance that enemy schemes will be detected, and increases advantage on schemes, increases the starting success rate, increases scheme growth rate, and increases the chance to successfully imprison another character. Then we have our learning, which increases our piety and reduces the cost of several such things. And other characters are more likely to accept when you demand conversion. Basically, learning is mostly how pious you are, but it also has some actual, like, technological stuff as well. Then we have our prowess, which is specifically how good are we personally at fighting. Like, you could have a martial of 45 and a prowess of 8, and if you actually get in the fight, you're probably gonna die. Your army will probably win the battle, but you're gonna die. You can also see people that have martial of like 4 and a prowess of like 40, and they will lose the battle, but will have killed a whole bunch of guys by themselves. So, knights are very powerful, and this is the number that is important for knights. 12 is okay. Dread, basically, dread makes people scared of you. And if they're scared of you, they're less likely to try to mess with you. Okay, so we are Catholic, and allow me to pull up Catholicism. This is what it means to be Catholic in the game. We have armed pilgrimages, which it costs rulers of this faith 20% less piety to declare holy wars. You can only declare holy wars against other religions, or rulers of other religions. If one exists, the head of faith can declare great holy wars, in this case, the Crusades, because we're Catholic. If no head of faith exists, adherents gain a bonus to convert faith in county councilor task per controlled holy site. We don't control any holy site, so this doesn't matter to us. Unless, of course, that means across all Catholic groups. I'm not sure if it does. But characters of this faith gain an additional bonus upon successful completion of a pilgrimage. So we will probably at some point go on a pilgrimage, which is another one of those things where we have to actually make a trip. There's communion. Characters can seek indulgences from the head of faith to pay gold in exchange for piety. Characters who have committed criminal acts may seek indulgences to gain forgiveness for them instead. Spiritual head of states may excommunicate other characters of their faith. Makes honest a virtue, makes deceitful a sin. Monasticism. Courtiers can take the vows and become a monk. Makes temperate a virtue, makes gluttonous a sin. So the sins are lustful, gluttonous, deceitful, sadistic, and vengeful. The virtues are chaste, temperate, honest, compassionate, and forgiving. It is a male-dominated religion, so male only and male preference succession within Catholic stuff. Adherence to the faith will have opinion penalties of 100%. So that means that trying to think. I basically think this means that whatever penalties you should get based on this religion will be adhered 100%. Like if you had a religion that's a little more iffy, they won't care as much if you have sins, that kind of thing. But Catholics care. Theocratic temple holdings are leased out to the holder's realm priest, who then serves as a theocratic vassal. So my priest controls the church lands. Encouraged, you should go on a pilgrimage. Monotheistic, so there's only one God. That means we do not like religions that have multiple gods. And ecumenism, other Christian faiths that have ecumenism doctrine are considered astray instead of hostile. That's basically just gauging how much we dislike other faiths. So, other Christian faiths we dislike less than non-Christian faiths. Marriage type is monogamous, so you can only be married to one person. You must get your divorces approved by the Pope. You have to legitimize bastards if they are discovered. And you cannot marry siblings. Or maybe you can. Because that sounds like you can. Okay, this is cousin marriage is allowed. Sibling marriage is still disallowed. And our current pope is Pope Nicholas. He's 67 years old, though, so he's probably not going to be around much longer. But who knows? Maybe he'll live to 90. Who knows? Okay. And we are also Swabian. And the Swabian culture. This is a Central Germanic heritage. That means other Germanic heritages we like better. We speak High German. And we like Swabian aesthetics. Mountain homes. The quarries lines of buildings have additional bonuses in counties of this culture. So we get bonuses for quarries. We gain prestige when completing buildings and holdings with mountains or desert mountains. We have increased hunt success in mountains and desert mountains. All Swabian characters have a reduced danger in mountains and desert mountains. All Swabian counties develop growth in mountains and desert mountains at a higher rate. At all Swabian holdings, we have reduced cost for building and holding construction and in mountains and desert mountains. There's Brugliism, which city holdings give more taxes, developments, and levies. City holdings significantly lowers control gain, and control gain is county control measures the grip that your government has on the population of a county. So basically, this means that cities make us more money, but they slow down the rate at which we control the area. We'll have more vassals of this type, and city buildings can be built one era earlier. That's probably pretty good. Reduce city buildings and holdings costs. Parochial vassals dislike us, which I find odd, but they give more taxes and more levies, and minor landholders dislike us. And industrious gain development growth when a building is constructed. Water mills and windmill line of buildings can be constructed one era early. We have increased stress gain, which is bad. and building construction time is reduced, but the cost is increased. The current head of our culture is this guy, who is apparently our neighbor over here, Count Liutfrid II of Sundgau. He is also a vassal of Lotharingia. No, he is a vassal of Lotharingia, whereas we are a vassal of East Francia. So, East Francia. So chances are at some point we might be taking over the position as head of culture. Now, why would you want to be the head of a culture, you may ask? Well, that's because of the innovation list over here. Currently, our people are trying to learn what? Looks like we are trying to learn how to build barracks, which we are getting a bonus because we know the Bavarians. Basically, the head of the culture gets to pick which one of these technologies that we are currently researching. And this applies to the entire culture, no matter who is a member of it. So, but of course, these take a long time. So for the most part, at least early on, you won't be paying much attention to this. But still, the tribal era starts in 476 and goes until enough of these have been researched that we can unlock the early medieval era. But it cannot be unlocked before 900. Okay. We've handled that. This is our dynasty. We can click on that. And this tells us what legacies we've picked up, which we've not picked up any. We are currently an obscure dynasty. And there are 3 living members. That's me, my half-brother, and my nephew, who is my half-brother's son. And we can also, in here, we can say we want to see the dynasty tree, which shows us our family tree. So our father had 3 sons. I'm not entirely sure how we ended up being the count over our brother. I'm guessing our father must have had 2 different wives at some point. But since this is the beginning of the game, apparently our mother isn't even bothered to be recorded. So later on, things like that will be recorded. Okay, so we currently have 60 gold. We're making 1.5 a month, as you can also see up here at the top of the screen. We have 600 prestige. We are making 0.6 a month. Our level of fame is established. Level of fame is important. It will determine when we can do events and things like that. It'll also affect how much people like us. Like we are currently, like I said, established. And established gives us basically no benefits. But distinguished means the people will like us more and we can have more knights. Illustrious, they like us even more, we can have more knights. There's exalted among men, which they like us even more, we can have more knights. Legendary figure is new. This didn't used to exist. But they like us even more and we can have more knights. And as you can see over here, this number in the bottom corner, that is how much this person likes us. As you can see, the king doesn't like us very much because he is not Swabian. He's Franconian. So, he doesn't like us because we're not Franconian. Our diplomacy is low, so he doesn't like us, and we're lustful, which is a sin, so he doesn't like us. But he is also trusting, which increases how much he likes us, which is why he's only at -8. He's probably not going to do anything to us when he only mildly dislikes us. Our brother likes us. Of course, as we can see, he still dislikes us because we're sinful and our diplomacy is low. But we're brothers. Communal is... Oh, all Swabians are communal. So apparently we like each other because we're Swabians. He's on my council, which helps. And we have Confederate partition, which means he's going to get land when I die. So he likes that. And he's also a member of our dynasty. Then we have our piety, which we're producing almost none of a month. And dutiful gets us nothing. Faithful, the clergy likes us better. Devoted servant, the clergy likes us even more. Paragon of virtue, the clergy likes us even more. The religious icon, they like us even more. Divine is new, it didn't used to exist. Oh, it has an even higher level. We can be a demigod. Oh, these require a particular, I guess probably a particular culture to get that high. I would imagine religious icon is as high as we can go. Yeah. Okay. Then we are an aspiring ruler. This is legitimacy. This is a new thing that I have not seen before. So we are not terribly legitimate right now. And we have these short... Well, okay. This is a thing that I'm guessing isn't actually affecting us right now. But maybe it is. But as an aspiring ruler, short reign duration is reduced. But that's when you've just taken the throne and people don't trust you just because you're new. Now, as we determined, we are the Count of Zurich. This is the title for the County of Zurich. As we can see, our brother and our nephew are the next two in line for this title. Then we have these four here. The Duchy of Verona, which is down here in Italy, currently held by Duke Unroch of Friuli. And I can tell you one thing, we don't want to mess with him. He is much more powerful than we are. And then there's Rison, which is held by this guy, who is our neighbor. So we could declare war on this guy and try to take this title because we have claim to it. And we might be able to because he has a very small army. Trying to find us again. There we go. Of course, we also have a very small army. And Padua, which is down here, which is also held by that guy, so we probably don't want to mess with him. And Policine, which is also held by that guy. Probably don't want to mess with him. I clicked something random and clicked a priest. Okay. So, back to us. Family we've already looked at. Parent, grandfather, siblings. We have no wards, no lovers, no friends, no rivals. These are the people who are in our court right now. So we have Brunhilde, Euphema, Gebhard, our brother, our nephew, Emmerich, Heike, who is our spy master. That is important. Our bishop, Agatha von Schudi, and Clementia Bloch. And of course, see, they don't really like us very much, but irrelevant. And our only subject is Mayor Adalbert of Schwitz, the city that is in our holding. Okay, so we have looked at everything here on the character screen. This is a very important screen, and we will be looking at it a lot. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to look at. Our domain. We are holding 1 of 5 holdings. Depending on your stewardship and your technology, you can hold a certain number of holdings before your vassals start getting upset at you for holding too much territory. So we can hold 5 counties, basically. Now, that would actually go up if we happen to be able to form a dukedom, because being a duke gets you an additional county that you can administrate. I should also point out that your vassals dislike if you hold too many dukedoms, too many kingdoms, and too many empires. They think you're getting full of yourself and you should spread the wealth some, basically. Okay. Next most important thing, these things along the top of the screen. Question marks, these are just the encyclopedia. I understand. How to fabricate claims. This will be important. And we have not chosen a lifestyle, so we should do that. These are the 5 lifestyles. Diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue, and learning. The fact that we are a mastermind philosopher means we should probably go with learning, because we will get bonus experience, and we're also just good at it. So we'll go with that. Then you have these 3 options of your focus. Medicine gives you a boost to learning and a health boost. Scholarship gives you a bigger learning bonus and increases your development growth. Development is how, I guess, advanced your cities are. Like, higher development probably means, the city's cleaner, it has more people, it makes more money, basically. Then theology gives us the middle learning bonus, but it gives us a piety boost, and the head of our faith likes us better. I usually pick medicine focus for that health boost, because having a good health boost means you live longer. But for the sake of this, since we are sinful, I think I'm going to take theology focus to get the piety bonus. Okay. We apparently, despite the fact the game said we did not have a lifestyle chosen, we have apparently been a theologian for a while, because we already have these perks. So, we're faithful, which makes the clergy like us better. We are a zealous proselytizer, which means we can convert faith faster. We have clerical justifications, which means religious relations increase. Religious icon. This means the convert faith in county, the time it takes to convert faith is no longer increased if your faith has higher fervor than another faith. Fervor is something you have very little control over, but if your faith has a high fervor, you can convert things faster, basically. But if another faith has high fervor, it'll take you forever to get rid of them. And Church and State, our realm priest likes us. And profit, monthly piety per night is increased, and faith creation and reformation cost is reduced. That's a good perk to have if you ever actually want to reform or create a new faith, because doing that is very expensive. And of course, there's also more perks down the tree, but we will look at that when the time comes. Our heir is unmarried, but so are we. So we should probably get married first. So, this is the arranged marriage screen. And this is very important. We would like to find a wife who helps us. So I typically do sum of all skills. So this gives us the person with the most skill points. Of course, this person is a lowborn. They're Catholic, and they're Swabian. You can also add a few perks to this, like requiring fertility and anything like that. Like doing a sum of all skills, you could scroll down here and well, I scrolled past somebody who was 45. So being this old, the likelihood of having children is very low. It could still occur, but it is very low. And since you want children, so you have an heir, that is somewhat important. Of course, we are also 35. Of course, we see here, everybody is lowborn, which will hurt our prestige. Now, this person here is Norse and is a member of another house. That doesn't really mean anything. Well, it does mean some things, but you can still marry this person. But they're going to be they're of a different faith and a different culture, so they're probably not going to like you very much. But they are also... Is this person actually a chief? No, she is the daughter of a chief. So marrying her would get us an alliance with her father. So that's why this is here. She also has a negative genetic trait. Basically, she is unattractive, is what this means. And you marry somebody with a genetic trait, it increases the chance that your children are going to have the genetic trait. Which actually, being early in a game, it might be good to actually say that, come over here and say you want inheritable traits. So now you see it's reordered the list over here. This is the highest person with a positive inheritable trait, that being Quick. Quick is a very nice trait, but what is this? She's barren. She is unlikely to have children. So, probably not her. Then we have this woman who is pretty, which has a boost to diplomacy, a boost to fertility, and a boost to attraction opinion. But we're also still going by sum of all skills, and you see we've gotten down to not very good numbers. So we're going to abandon the desire to have inheritable traits at this time. And I think we are just going to take the hit to our prestige for marrying a lowborn and go with one of these. And so this one here has a very high intrigue, which is good because that will help us not die from being stabbed in the back or something. This one, however, has a very high martial, which will help us command armies. But she also has a 0 in intrigue, so it's not going to help us much. We will go with Gunhilda. And you'll see, we lose legitimacy now, not prestige, for marrying a lowborn, which will decrease our legitimacy level to illegitimate, which I'm not entirely sure what that's going to do to us. I guess we would need, well, I'm just gonna roll the dice. Oh, it does also lose us prestige. She gains prestige. We lose prestige for marrying lowborn. Let's step back here. Let us add here. Let's just say we want to gain the prestige. Now we only have 2 options, and they're both children. Which isn't going to help us any other than getting us alliance with their fathers. But also, we can't actually marry them. We will just be betrothed to them until they come of age. And the deal can be broken prior to that. So, probably not a good idea there. Let's see, what does no gain get us? No gain is just the same thing. There are no landed. If they have any claims. Any claims. Just her. No, I think we're just going to deal with the hit. And we'll see what it does to us. You could also, at this point, declare this is a matrilineal marriage, which that would mean that you are marrying into her house, as opposed to her marrying into yours. So any children of the union would be in her house, not yours. That can be useful when you're trying to marry your daughters off. If you want to expand your dynasty, basically. This could also increase the likelihood that someone will agree to a marriage. And you could also use a hook, which means that you've got dirt on somebody or a favor or something, and get them to increase the likelihood they will accept that way. No congenital traits, chance of children, medium. Okay. Making sure that we're both heterosexual, because that could be something you need to check. So, right, and send the proposal. Of course, note, we haven't even unpaused the game yet, and we're an hour into this video. So, then we have our tips tab, which basically tells us stuff we can do. We are not employing a personal physician. This is something we should probably do. We just don't have anybody that is currently good at that. So, nobody's any good at that. We're going to not do anything with it yet. Station a men-at-arms regiment. We will skip the lesson. We want this men-at-arms regiment to be stationed in Zurich. That increases their abilities. Now, we need to explain armies a little bit. Armies have 3 types of units. You have levies, which are the peasants. They are very weak, but you'll have a lot of them. Then you have knights, which are very strong, but you won't have very many of them. And then you have men-at-arms, which are your professional soldiers. They are much better than levies, nowhere near as good as knights. They're also expensive. At our current position, we can have 2 men-at-arms units. We currently have a unit of pikemen. That is size 1 of 3. We cannot afford to increase them to size 2. Can we afford to create a new unit? Yes, we can. So we can get siege engines, light footmen, bowmen. We cannot afford armored footmen, pikemen, or light horsemen. All these units have kind of a rock, paper, scissors cancelization of each other. They also have bonuses for particular regions. Like we look back here at the pikemen. Pikemen have a bonus in mountains, desert mountains, and hills. They counter cavalry. And they have 28 damage and 30 toughness. If I were to say bowmen have bonus in hills, forest, and taiga. and they counter skirmishers. Which you will see, symbol, skirmisher, the staff with the two, or the shield with the two spears. That's a light footman. Light footmen are skirmishers. They counter heavy infantry, which would be armored footmen. Armored footmen counter spearmen and peasant militias. Pikemen being spearmen. You can't raise peasant militias yourself. But I'm not going to spend any money on more troops right now because we don't have a lot of money. You can also hire mercenaries, but mercenaries are expensive. Mercenaries are entirely men-at-arms armies. We have the ability to declare 2 different wars. We can try to attack the King of Italy. This would not be wise. And then we have that other guy who's right next to us, and we could try to seize our claims. Or if we wanted to, we could press our brother's claims. Because, you know, being our brother, he has the same claims we do. Which would make him happy. And then when the war was over, Grisons, if we won, would become our brother's territory. But he would also be the same rank as us, and thus not our vassal. So we wouldn't want to do that. Our brother can also get married. So let's find him a wife as well. In his case, I am less interested in getting him a good wife and more in getting an alliance for us. How about marrying you to the daughter of House Ludolfiger? The unicorn falls before the sword. The Duke of Angria. He's Saxon. This would get us an alliance with him. He will accept. So, send the proposal. Now, our nephew is technically under our brother, so our brother would decide who he marries unless we do it first. Okay, so we have looked at this screen. We've looked at the tips at the top. We have a breakdown of our income, of all the different kinds here. Renown is the legend of our dynasty. So the higher this is, the more powerful our dynasty is. There's our total soldiers, our domain holdings. This is the outliner. We don't really have anything in it right now. Okay, and now we have other buttons to push. We have the realm, which we are a feudal nation. We have 1 county. Our liege is King Ludwig II. We are not sharing power with someone else. When we travel, sometimes you have to share power. Like, say, I need to travel for some reason down to Rome. While I am gone, chances are my wife will be in charge. So I am sharing power with her. She is then acting with my authority, and she can do bad things. She can also try to usurp me while I'm gone. So that's what the sharing power system is about. And subjects, we just have the mayor here. He doesn't like us because he is impatient. He is parochial. I have not been ruling long, apparently. And of course, we're sinful. And also he's upset because our legitimacy is low. Laws, this is how powerful the king is. Or we are, how powerful we are. We currently have autonomous vassals, which makes our vassals happy, makes belligerent vassals unhappy. The higher this goes, the less happy our vassals are. So like autonomous vassals, that means we have basically no control over what our vassals do. Whereas or absolute crown authority, that's basically King Louis of France. Our vassals can't do anything without the king's approval. So they won't fight each other. It also allows us to designate who our heir is. Right now, we can't do that. Our heir is succession. Okay, we are doing Confederate partition. And we are a male-dominated religion. So that means that our heir will be the eldest male of our family, if one exists. If one doesn't, a daughter could inherit. And basically, this is just telling us that these type of vassals all want this guy to be my heir, because there's no other choice. Now, we've already looked at the military tab. Now we have our council. Council is important. I am going to unpause for a moment. Okay. We're married now. I was waiting for us to marry so that our wife would be here on the council. Okay, so she is now here, and we can change what she does. If we say assist ruler, that means a percentage of her stats are added to our stats. As you see, our stats are not nearly as bad as they were before. We could also have her focus on a specific stat. So like our wife is very good at military. So if we switch her to chivalry, that brings our martial up to 15, which is now a good number. Or we can just say assist the ruler, and that gets us to poor diplomacy, average martial, poor stewardship, terrible intrigue, and good learning. I think I'm just going to have her assisting us because her stats in general are pretty good, except for intrigue. But we have our bishop. We cannot replace him. The Pope controls who our bishop is. As you can also see, our bishop is terrible at religion. This is surprisingly common. And him being bad at religion means he is bad at his job. So if I could replace him, I would, but I can't. All right. He likes us. And since he likes us, that means we get taxes from him. So as long as this number right here is positive, we're good. He has the authority to fabricate claims, to convert faith, and to boost religious relations. Fabricating claims is basically the most important thing he can do, because since we are a feudal society, which you can see up here, we are feudal, that means we cannot attack a territory that we do not have a claim to. So, like, as I said, you could declare 2 wars. We could declare war with the King of Italy because we have claim to this duchy over here. We're not going to do that because that would be stupid. We could also declare war on Grisons here because we have a claim to it. But other than that, we can't declare war on anybody. But you can get your bishop to write up a claim to something else. And depending on how good he is at his job, is the chance that he will get discovered that he wrote something fake. Or not. But even if it is discovered, you still got your claim. And if you go to war and win, well, now you own it. So you could say it's yours all you want, and nobody can say otherwise. Convert faith is if you were to have conquered, and everything around here is Catholic. Let me switch to faith mode. See, everything is Catholic. But let's just say we were over here and managed to seize one of these territories in Ireland. This is an insular county. If we controlled it, they would dislike us because we were Catholic. So we could have our priest go and try to convert the county into Catholicism. It would take a long time, even if he was good at his job, which he isn't. So we're probably not going to be doing much faith converting, particularly since we are in the heart of Christendom here. So we're probably not going to be dealing with non-Christian territories for a while. And religious relations, this is what's automatically selected. That just means he's telling all of his religious friends how good we are. So other Catholics like us more. All right. Our brother is our chancellor, and that is the diplomacy seat. Now, we can replace him if we want. He will not like that. But we can if he's bad at his job. Kind of like our marshal down here is probably about to get replaced because he's real bad at his job. But, so, the chancellor, just by existing, he gives us some bonuses because he's here. You could set him to domestic affairs or to foreign affairs. Domestic affairs makes your vassals like you more, and foreign affairs make other lords like you more. Depending on what position you're in, will depend on which one of these two that you want. I don't really have any vassals, so he should probably be on foreign affairs, which I think is what he is actually already on. Then we have our steward, who is the mayor that we've talked about several times here. His existence boosts our income. Now, he has multiple things he can do. He can promote cultural acceptance. This is if we were to seize a territory that is not Swabian, he can try to make that other one like us better. Or he can go there and try to convert them into Swabians. He can also increase the development of counties, or he can collect taxes, which increases our income. This is usually the default. Well, this is what he does when he's not doing anything else. Then we have Gebhard, our marshal, who, as we said, is very bad at his job. He can increase control in counties, basically martial law, which put down crime, make things more stable. Train commanders will get us more knights and increase the effectiveness of our men-at-arms. And organized army will increase the size of our levy army and reduce its cost. Of course, you'll notice here at the bottom, every time it says possible side effects. Those are things that happen because he's bad at his job. So there's a likelihood that the new commanders he finds for us will get injured, maimed, or killed. And this one here, the levies will desert, the farms will get deserted, we won't have enough guards, and we'll lose money. So, this guy's real bad at his job. We should replace him if we can. We can't, really. Like, this guy's better than him, but he's still pretty bad. But, I'm gonna do that anyway. I don't care if Gebhard loses an opinion of me. He's not a landed person, so he's not going to come back and cause any problems. He's probably going to leave our court soon now. But, oh well. And then we have Heike, our spy master, who, 12, not bad. And she can find secrets, which means that she will investigate lords and vassals around us looking for secrets. often or usually within our own court, but depends, since we don't really have much of a court, she'd probably look around outside of it. And secrets can be used to get hooks on people, to make them do things you want them to do. We can also support schemes, which means she will increase the likelihood of our schemes succeeding. Or she can disrupt schemes, which means she will be actively trying to disrupt the schemes of other people. Typically, you will keep them on this. Okay, that is our council. Then we have courtiers. These are court positions that we can fill, which, of course, as you see, none of them are currently filled. And they all do different things. But at the moment, we don't really need any of them except a personal physician. I would like to search for a physician. So we will choose search for physician. Okay. Then we have the intrigue screen, which we have no schemes currently running right now. And we can activate these to help fight against things. And of course, you see all these have negatives on them. So we don't want to activate them if we need to. We currently have no hooks. Factions. There are currently no factions. And no factions against our liege. We could create one if we wanted to. Our king would not like that. Then we have decisions. We could found a holy order, which we can't afford. Holy order being a type of religious mercenary group. Found a new duchy, which we don't have the ability to do that. We can restore the Holy Roman Empire. No, we can't do that. Because it actually has a lot more requirements than what the things say. Like, this just says you don't have enough money, you don't have enough piety. You also have to hold a kingdom or empire title, which we don't. The Pope has to like us enough, and we need to have a high enough faith level. To found a duchy, we have to be an independent ruler, which we're not, because we are subject to a king. And we have to be illustrious, and our legitimacy has to be greater or equal to the level 4. To restore the Holy Roman Empire, we have to be the top level, which we're not. We have to be illustrious. We have to have at least one of these kingdoms, which we have none of them. Our vassals need to hold at least one of these. Or, well, either we need to hold one of these or our vassals need to hold one of these. We must control at least 3 kingdom titles, and the realm size must be 120 or more. Also, the Pope has to like us. We need to have a strong hook on the Pope, or we need to have a weak hook on the Pope. Also known as, we ain't gonna be doing that no time soon. We could commission an artifact, but we don't have an antiquarian. We don't have the money for it. We are currently recruiting a physician. You can also invite knights to come, and you can recruit from them. Activities, we can hold a feast, we can hold a hunt, we can go on a pilgrimage, we can go on a university visit. And situations. Apparently there are no situations. We can promote legends, but there are no legends at the moment. There are no plagues. Okay. So, now we're to the point where we can play the game. Because we've spent an hour and 20 minutes just going over the basics. Also here on the map, we have show the realms. Then we can say show all the duchies. Which you can see there's a lot of duchies. Show only the kingdoms. Show only the empires. Now, of course, just because there is an empire doesn't mean the empire actually exists. Like, there is no Empire of Britannia. No one controls the Empire of Britannia. or the Empire of Scandinavia, or Russia. Just Khazaria, Byzantium, the Abbasid. Nobody holds the Persians. Nobody holds those. Nobody holds that. I like how this empire is a little tiny thing, but if we switch back to this, it controls like half of Siberia. But these are just the lands de jure of the empire themselves. So like the Tang Emperor actually holds 2 empire titles, probably. Oh, this is a hegemony title. I don't know what a hegemony is. That must be something new. A hegemony can have emperors as their... Okay, they've had a new level. Used to be empire was the highest. I guess hegemony is even higher. Of course, that's one thing to remember that's also important. Like, look at this guy right here. He holds exactly 3 titles. He is the Hegemon of Tang. He's the Zhen of Yongjing. And he's the Jun of Jingzhou. This is important because it means he really only controls 1 county. He is the emperor of all this, but he only has 1 county directly answering to him. That means that if he ever has instability in his kingdom, this number right here is going to go down. Because most of these levies are being contributed by his vassals. They're not actually his. Whereas, like, Charles the Bald here, you see, he is the king of West Francia, the king of Aquitaine, and he is the count of these 6 counties. That means he has all 6 of these counties contributing to his numbers. So he has many fewer vassals than the Emperor of Tang. But if his vassals decided to come against him, he has a better chance of holding on to his throne than the Hegemon of Tang does. If that makes sense. Okay, well, I think the first thing we're going to do is I am going to do that thing I said I wasn't going to do, and we're going to add another unit. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to Grisson, and, well, there he is. Okay, you. He has pikemen. So, we would like armored footmen, wouldn't we? Because they counter spearmen. I don't think I want to wait to get armored footmen. So I think I'm just going to recruit some bowmen. And you'll see they are at 5 out of 100. As time passes, that number will go up. All right, this is our wedding celebration, I guess. All right. With my marriage to Countess Gunthilda, we are expects us to throw a suitably extravagant wedding celebration. It is well within my right to collect a royal aid duty as part of this, but some may consider it tasteless to levy an extra tax during time of jubilation. So we can collect 75 gold, or we can gain 350 prestige. We need the money, but we also need the prestige. So let's take the prestige. All right, we've got 2 people here that would like to be our court physician. We have Thomas, who is 18 in learning, that being the key skill for a physician. He is a mastermind philosopher, just like me. He is a physician. He is also deceitful, which is concerning in a physician. He is also a dishonorable lackey. This is a red flag, basically. Now, we're not important enough for there to really be somebody who wants us dead, I wouldn't think. But normally, if you want to get a physician, and you get a dishonorable lackey, deceitful physician coming in, he might be an agent sent to kill you. And then we have Helga over here, who is even better at being a physician. She's a novice physician, whereas he is a regular physician. Which is this is actually good. They've added levels to these skills. They didn't used to do this. Like, you could hire an 18-year-old apprentice physician, keep them on as your physician for 60 years, and they would still be an apprentice physician at the end of it. But Helga is a novice physician, just learning, but her learning is extra high. She's an honorable lackey, generous, chaste, and diligent, and an insightful thinker, as opposed to a philosopher. We will be taking Helga. She's also much cheaper. Now, see, it says she's only average, but her numbers look better than his to me. And see, he wants us to pay him 50 gold. We don't have 50 gold. She wants us to pay 15. We don't have 15. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to go negative for a little while, which is bad. But our liege has entered a co-monarchy. Apparently, for some reason, he named his courtier Hardwin the co-monarch, and then his son said, "No, no, 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 no. That's me. That's gonna be me." Why is this not letting me open it back up? There we go. Co-monarch. So Ludwig the Younger of West Franconia is the now co-monarch. I'm guessing the king is not doing well. No, he seems to be doing fine. This could be a German thing. There are interesting rules around how the Germans handle things. I think. Let's see, what do we have here? No, this is male preference Confederate partition. We haven't started doing any of the election stuff yet. Yeah, I know I'm in debt. Now, let's unpause, let the game run for a little bit. Because we would like to get out of debt before we go to war. Being in debt puts severe penalties on your military. Oh, I did not explain. Down here in the bottom right, it tells us what the current day is. It is the 8th of May, 867. And this is how fast the game is playing. Red means it is paused. We were at normal speed. We can go all the way up to 5, all the way down to 1. We're in debt. Tooltip modes. Don't care. That's... I haven't really mentioned it, but when you mouse over something, you'll see a little spinny thing in the corner. While that spinny thing is not there, or while it has not filled up, as soon as you move, the box disappears. But if you wait for the circle to finish, the box will now stay there for a little while, letting you actually mouse onto the box if you want to investigate further. Go on, 8 degrees of separation down 1,000 different little tooltips and pop-ups. Oh, and now in the diplomacy section, we have an alliance with Duke Otto of Angria. And where it... Oh no. Well, that's interesting. How did that happen? That happened real fast. Our brother's father-in-law appears to have died very quickly after him marrying his daughter. Well, no, he died he died last year. I guess her brother. Yes, her brother is the current Duke. I think. Yes. Her brother is the Duke. And he's 16 years old, which I do think that means he is now running things here. So. Where's your territory? Show me duchy titles. Ah, up here. So there's Angria up here. He's very powerful. He's the ruler of about 1/3 of the kingdom. Good. Yes, I know I'm in debt. We'll be out of debt in a couple of months. All right, let's increase the speed a little bit. Well, a lot of bit. All right, our wife is pregnant. I don't know why the music got all... Oh, I haven't stationed this unit anywhere. There, you were... Oh. Okay, they can't be stationed. And they haven't been growing because we were in negative money. But now they're growing. Alright, something has occurred. These are events. Events will occur periodically. My recent endeavors within the realm of theology have given me a greater appreciation for God's representatives on Earth. Trying to express some of these feelings, I will draft a letter to the King Bishop, Nicholas, writing a letter to the Pope. I sit down with a scribe, and together we craft a truly splendid letter highlighting his holinesses. Alright, let's take a look at the Pope. The Pope is an analytic zealot. His stats are actually pretty bad. He has the Patriarch bonus, which increases his likelihood of having children, which for a celibate is kind of funny. Okay. He being a zealot, we are going to praise God. And we will find out whether he likes our letter eventually. All right, we now have a daughter, which we can name her whatever we want to name her. I would say, give me a good Swabian name. Rikara or Rishara. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Swabian sounds like. We will go with that. So that has caused a change. We come back over here and look at us again. Our brother is no longer the player heir. That means when we die, we will take over, the daughter will take over as the player character. Now, that has not upset our brother yet. It always could, but for now, he seems fine. And we check our military. Units isn't done being built yet, so continue. We continue. Okay. We have now 2 men-at-arms regiments, and we got 10 monies. Now, I would say 10 money is not good enough to start a war. But at full maintenance, 0.9, 0.6, which would cost us 1.5 a month, which would bring us to negative 0.3 a month, which means we could go to war for what's that, about 9 months, which that should be plenty, because Grisons is just one county, so the war will be short. He's grown himself a magnificent beard since the last time we saw him. But he is probably about to lose his territory. So we will be declaring war on him to stake our claim. This will cost us 150 prestige. This is one of the reasons why you want to keep prestige. Now, different types of civilizations and different types of religions. Sometimes you will have wars that will cost piety. Sometimes they will cost prestige. Sometimes they will cost gold. Alright, so we will declare war upon him. And I would click on the little flag here and say I would like to raise all my troops here. I am personally commanding this army, so we should probably come over here to our council and switch our wife into chivalry mode, so she's boosting our martial, and wait for our army to raise, which it is now raised, and we march on the county of Grisons. You see, he is now raising his army. Now, it is important to note, we have 2 little diamonds, and he has 3. That means his army is in general higher quality than ours. I'm not entirely sure why. Does he have decent martial that I didn't notice? Not really. He does have better prestige, but this here tells us we will probably win. We have a better army commander, we have more soldiers. He's defending in mountains and has defensive buildings. Of course, we're traveling through mountains, so we're kind of slow. And it's also good to note that he himself is commanding this army. When the enemy lord is commanding their army, that is dangerous. I mean, he probably has the highest stats of his vassals, so it makes sense he's commanding his army. But he could always die, which would cause all kinds of bad things. Or he could be captured. If you capture the lord of an opposing faction, you basically automatically win the war. And this is the battle interface. So right now, the first roll, we rolled badly. So he currently has the advantage. He is rolling good dice. We might lose this battle. The count has been maimed. Our brother maimed him. So you'll see now he has more troops than we do. But now we have advantage, but it's probably too late for that. And we were wounded by Peter, his marshal. But our physician has fixed us. And when we get down to a point where it says 0, but the fight's going on, that's knights fighting it out. We lost the battle, and we have to flee. I don't know why it has us fleeing all the way up there. When an army flees, you kind of don't really have control of where they're going. We lost the battle, but that's okay. Eventually, the army will stop fleeing, and we will be able to tell them what to do. Hopefully, they'll have to go all the way up here to Geraldsik, but looks like he might actually have to go all the way up there. All right, before we turn around, let's go back to our council, and you, let's see. Yeah. Switch to train commanders, please. We have gotten a perk. Okay, we can take Radiant, which increases the level of devotion impact. We could also take Scientific, which increases cultural fascination progress, which doesn't actually help us much because we're not the leader of our culture. We could take Pedagogy, which makes our wards get additional skills, which that is something we should take. We will take that because we need to do that. We need to declare our daughter our heir, or our ward. I guess we should also probably take our nephew as ward as well. Army's still retreating. Army is done retreating. We're just going to turn around and come back. This here is the amount of supplies we have. This is important, but in the early part of the game, not really. But basically, we lost that battle purely because the dice did not roll in our favor. Because we were a superior commander and all that sort of stuff, so the we had bonuses to our dice rolls, but, you know, their dice just still won. Like, say you're playing D&D with somebody and you need, you know, I don't know, say you have a, say a modifier of +4, and they have an armor class of 16. Well, if you can't roll anything above a 12, you're still not going to hit them. So, and we're still -7, which is bad. We got wounded again. Got fixed again. Looks like we're gonna lose again. We were wounded again. Alright, something is gotta give here. Let's take a look at our knights. Oh, we only have 3 of the 4 knights we can have. So, and all of our knights suck. That's probably part of our problem. Invite knights. This will cost us 150. That's okay. Send the herald. See if maybe we can get one decent knight out there on the field. Hey, see, it's now saying that we have supply issues. No, we are well supplied. Okay. Let's see. Our wife is pregnant again. Okay, Frederick. Are you any good? You're better than any of my other knights. I'm not going to recruit you yet. I'll march the army back down to Zurich, and we will see. We've also lost some peasants, so it would be good to rebuild. Now, I could call on my ally, and he would send his army down here and just stomp all over him. Which, I think I'm actually going to do. Normally, I wouldn't do this, because, you know, this is a war I should be able to win on my own. But he will accept, so I can call him. And now if we check, we should see, hadn't happened yet, but he will raise his army and march it down. There it is. Now his army's on his way down here. And apparently we got a little bit of a fight going on up here too. We're not involved in this war, so they're just gray. Okay, we have... Our army is rebuilt, or mostly rebuilt. Yeah, it is rebuilt. Alright, let's come in here, see if we can... This guy's gonna cost me 20 gold to recruit, so we're not recruiting him. We don't have the money. Never did see. Did the Pope like our letter? Sounds like he probably ignored it. Berengar. He's pretty good. Of course, he's a cowardly knave. Alright, I think our ally is almost here. And now he's moving in to join us. And now we will win decisively. Okay, we now have a son. Reinhard. Okay, now we have 1,500 men against his 247. Now his dice rolls don't really matter. Let's see, we're rolling badly. And we are now laying siege to the capital, which will fall in 11 months. We can assault the fort. Well, at some point we can. We cannot right now. Irrational Grasper. But basically the war is over now. We just have to wait. Yeah, Commander has been approved. Emmerich has... Let's see. It's showing off promising new recruit. Minard, how good are you? You're better than your boss. You're also hideous. But I don't need my commanders to be pretty. So he will join the court. Okay, see the ladder has appeared on the icon. That means we can now assault. But assault gets a lot of people killed. There's no reason to do it. We can just keep the let the game run, and we will win. My wife is pregnant again. My nephew is now a man. He's 16. And he is a charming, flamboyant trickster. He is vengeful, brave, and calm. And his numbers aren't great. Until we meet again. Now we should pause. And I have an open slot to make my son my ward. And we also have another perk available. Now take open-minded, which makes different cultures like us better, increases cultural acceptance, and any vassal who is not of my religion or culture will like me more. We also have anatomical studies, which makes the physician cheaper to hire, and the physician has better outcomes. We will take that since we kind of got lucky with how many times we got hurt recently. I was just appointed the king's master of the horse. Which also brings to my attention that apparently we have a new king that I did not know about. I've been busy. I've been fighting a war. The fact that the king died, I didn't notice. We took his son and heir prisoner. We now have 100% war score. Which we can check here. We've captured the heir, which gave us 50%. We have lost a bunch of... We've won a battle, so it gave us 20%. We lost a bunch of battles. We lost 40%, but we have a full occupation of the enemy territory, which gives us 100% war score. So, we win. And we can enforce demands. And we can exchange hostages if need be. We're not going to. Valuable prisoners taken by all war participants will be released. I will gain 50 legitimacy. I will gain the County of Grissal's title. I gain 10 fame. My allies will share 10 prestige. And he will pay that 10 prestige. And his allies will be based on also the enforced demands. To the rattling Hunfrid, may wisdom ever elude you. You are a much greater foe than I imagined. In order to put an end to this bloodshed, I will comply with your demands. Signed, whatever that name is. We lost 300 men. Lost 107 to attrition somehow. Yeah. Gained 50. We gained all that. So be it. And now we control Zurich and Grisson. You will want to remember to disband the army because it costs money to keep your armies raised. My legitimacy is probably still low. Yeah, it is still 0. I'm losing renown because of it. But we have control of both the counties now. I have just become the head of the Swabian culture. Why? Because I control 2 counties. Apparently no other Swabian lord does. Yeah, the ruler of this culture that has the most Swabian counties in their realm. I have 2, so I win. We can continue working on barracks. I am fine with that. Okay, apparently we weren't focused on anything, or we were focused on something else that was going to take a long time. But yeah, focusing on barracks, that's a good idea. And I can also take my other man-at-arms, and we can station them in Gur. I can now create the Duchy of Corezia, which would upset this guy. This is the Barony of Constans, which is part of the Prince Bishopric of Sankt Gallen. Actually, it probably wouldn't upset this guy, because this guy doesn't appear to be a count. Or maybe he is. Hard to say. But if I make the duchy, this guy is de jure part of my territory, even if he doesn't want to be. So I can demand he join me, or I can go to war with him to force him to join me. But I also probably can't afford to do this right now, because it costs 300 prestige and 25 legitimacy to create the title. And 250 money. I know it gives 300 prestige and 25 legitimacy, but costs 250 money. I don't have that kind of money. But we're at 2 hours long here, guys. And I would say that's a decent introduction. I don't plan on making another one of these unless you guys have a bunch of questions on how stuff works. Or if you guys want me to continue, give me a goal. What do you want me to do? And we'll see how things go from there. But until next time, I want to thank y'all for joining me. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all next time, and have a good day.